Take-Two gobbles up the makers of Star Wars Hunters. The Batman hype is very real, but are we going to have to wait even longer to see it? And even though the year is just getting started, there are some cool games headed our way very soon. All that and the latest and everything cool today in the Rundown. Hey, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Victor Lucas, and I'm so glad that you were able to join me today in the Electric Playground. We've got a great show for you today, but first of all, this show is brought to you by the Gaming Stadium. They are Canada's leader in online esports tournament facilitation. They have tournaments and fun things happening every single weekend, and you can find out all about them at tgs.gg. I also have a dedication for today's episode, and this one is for Darren's video account, who posted on my review of the Huawei MateView GT that I just posted on the channel. Says, I was today years old when I found out you edit your own videos. I imagine a big team doing that for you. Killer job. And a surprise face. Yes, I've had to take over the editing responsibilities pretty much since the pandemic began, and that's why I've been doing it out of the basement, keeping busy. There's lots and lots of incredible work that comes out there, but I've had to learn a lot of editing, a lot of streaming on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EPN. It's been really, really invigorating and fun. It does keep me busy. And I appreciate the support and the well wishes with all of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's get started with the Rundown. The big news that's out there right now is that Take-Two has agreed to buy Farmville creator Zynga. I kind of hate that Zynga is always deemed the Farmville creator because obviously they do a lot of other things out there, but this is a massive deal. It's like $12.7 billion, and it's really a merger of these two juggernauts in the video game industry. I'm not the biggest fan of Zynga and the kind of free-to-play attitude and that sort of, let's try to nickel and dime everybody in our mobile games and let's have a bunch of different weird oblique currencies that make it hard for people to understand what they're actually spending on. Not a fan of that. But Zynga, there's no way to refute how successful that company has been. It's made them a ton of money, and Take-Two sees this as an opportunity to take a lot of their franchises and move over into the mobile space. And what they've already said is that this is going to accelerate the amount of money that they're going to make from mobile big time right out of the gate. So millions and millions of dollars from day one of this acquisition. It kind of makes sense because I don't think Take-Two has a really massive mobile suite, and any of these mega conglomerate publishers that are out there now, these international conglomerates, have lots of mobile. They have their pies and their fingers in a lot of pies, and mobile is one of them. We see that with Electronic Arts. We definitely see that with Activision Blizzard, and now Take-Two is joining forces with Zynga. It's a big deal for Zynga because I think that's a company that struggled. They were a huge Facebook publisher for a long time, and they've had sort of these peaks and valleys with the success of their products and a lot of controversies about the way that they monetize their stuff. But I think they're finding their footing, and interestingly, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is that the Hunters game is being published by Zynga and probably developed by some internal teams there. This is the Star Wars, arena shooter type of experience where you can customize characters, and you're going to see a lot of familiar types and familiar settings and familiar environmental, artifacts and things like that we know from the Star Wars lore. But there's also a great deal of customization and personalization with some of this stuff. It does look like a fun game. I actually like this Graz Wookiee character. It does, look cute. Again, though, it's free to play, and I don't know how the currency is going to be, figured out, if it's kind of taking the Fortnite model or if it's going to be a little more insidious than that, where you just buy, costumes and cosmetics and things. We don't know too much about Star Wars Hunters, but what's interesting is now Lucasfilm and Disney have a relationship with Take-Two as well, and we're seeing them kind of spread this property to a bunch of different publishers and a bunch of different developers across the industry. EA is still a big player in the Star Wars universe, and expectation is that we're going to see the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order this year, which would be pretty cool. But it's interesting. Like Star Wars is being brought out in a bunch of different ways, and there's going to be a lot of sort of competing products out there to get our Star Wars attention. Are you guys excited about Star Wars Hunters? And I think you probably have a few thoughts about this Zynga acquisition and Zynga as a company. Is it a good move for Take-Two? Let me know in the comments, and I will definitely be reading all of those and commenting myself on some of your observations out there. All I know is that it's billions of dollars, and some people are going to get even richer than they already were. But hopefully, out of all of that, cooler games will get made, right? That's what we all hope for, is all of this money that gets made, it gets channeled into better products and better entertainment. We shall see, though. All right, let's move over to one of my favorite topics in the entire universe, Batman. The last trailer for the Batman film, which is scheduled to be released on March 4th, 2022, dropped over the holidays. They called it The Bat and the Cat, and it had a huge emphasis on the relationship between Bruce Wayne's Batman and Selena Kyle's Catwoman. Very, very, very stylish trailer, and it was overwhelming when I first saw it. I had to kind of watch it about 4 or 5 times, and I really like the style that Matt Reeves is going for here. The only thing about Batman movies, and I think I saw Conan O'Brien tweet this over. I didn't take Conan O'Brien's tweet, so I didn't create a little graphic of it or anything like that, so I may not quote it correctly, but the movie is called The Batman, and there have been about 15 Batman movies by this point, so shouldn't he just be called A Batman? Because it's another Batman. And what's interesting is we all know the lore, we all know the characters, and we all kind of have an idea of where this might go. But every filmmaker that sort of steps up to bat, no pun intended, that was terrible, I apologize, has an opportunity to, put their own spin on it. And I'm really interested to see what Matt Reeves does. Visually, stylistically, what we're seeing in these trailers is really cool, but we have already been waiting for a long time for this film. It was supposed to come out last year, and it has been pushed back to March 4th, 2022. And that's a date that we've known for a little while. But now there is some speculation because of Omicron that the movie might get pushed back again. This is definitely a theatrical film. Warner Brothers wants that box office. They want people to show up. They want this to be an event. They want it to be a tentpole. Batman is probably the most valuable property in everything that Warner Brothers owns. And so Jason Kilar, who is the top dog over at Warner Media there, was asked by Puck News, and it's been spread all over the place. But basically, they are watching Omicron very carefully. Clearly, they're going to be watching box office tallies. Spider-Man No Way Home is just making tons and tons of money, but it isn't that case with every film that is releasing right now. A lot of people are a little bit skittish about going out to the movie theaters, myself included. I won't be seeing Scream in theaters this week because of Omicron. And it's surging, so I think Warner Brothers and every studio has to kind of be a little bit careful here, and they don't want to drop the ball. They want this thing to be a monster success. They as they should. I mean, it looks like it's going to really deliver. It has that kind of that grit and that kind of early days of Batman, and they've just released images of the Riddler and Penguin, played by Colin Farrell, which is just unbelievable to believe. It's just unbelievable to see that Colin Farrell's put on all of this makeup, and they could have just hired an actor that looked like the Penguin. But I can't wait to see this, and it's got a great vibe about it. I will be disappointed if it gets delayed, but I will be one of those that totally understands why they've got to do it, I think every studio out there that's got a superhero property in the works is absolutely looking at Sony and Marvel with a great deal of envy right now, and they want in on that action. And of course, we've got the Batgirl movie that's coming up, and we have the Flash movie that's going to kind of, reinvigorate or reimagine everything that's happening in the DC entertainment universe. But the Batman is the biggie, and right now we're supposed to get it March 4th. And I don't have any news to report that it has been delayed, but don't be surprised if it does. We have just started the year, but there are already some really big games to look forward to. I did a whole feature on the 22 biggest games that I'm excited for in 2022. I forgot to put Bayonetta 3 on there. People pointed that out in the comments. But there's lots of really big titles. But very soon, we're going to start getting some really big games to get excited about, and I want to talk about a few of those right now. I think the biggest one is Pokemon Legends Arceus. And it's pronounced Arceus. I went back and forth. Is it Arceus? I looked it up online. Different people are calling it Arceus, but it's Arceus as released in this latest trailer. Nintendo has shown this off. I noticed in the comments that people were feeling like there might be, just too much space in this open world-esque kind of environment that they're crafting for us. For me, though, it looks really like the next level of where we can go with the Pokemon universe. This is going back in time to the early days of I think it's called the Hisui region, and the Pokedex hasn't been crafted. And so one of the things that you do in this game is you build the first Pokedex, and it's all on paper. It's not about computers and all that stuff, although somehow I think that there will be some computer-type tech in here or something. But it looks really cool. It definitely looks like it's taken a page, no pun intended, out of the Breath of the Wild games, and it looks like it's going to be incredibly expansive and about exploration and sort of searching all of the different areas and finding as many of the poke creatures and legendary creatures as you possibly can. And I haven't touched it. I don't know. It may feel a little empty. It may not have the really polished, beautiful design of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't know if that team that worked on Arceus is quite up to that caliber, but so, clearly they're learning lessons from what Zelda has provided, as is the rest of the industry. How many Breath of the Wild alikes or games that we've seen have been influenced by Breath of the Wild have we seen since that game came out in 2017? And I don't even know, we don't know how open this world is going to be, but we're going to know soon. It comes out on January 28th. I can't wait to stream this with you guys. I can't wait to review it, and I know my kid is going to be very excited about Pokemon Legends Arceus. But next week, we actually get a new one from Drinkbox Studios. It's Nobody Saves the World, and it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. It's going to be on the PC. I suspect it will be available on every platform very soon. It's an action role-playing game. It's cooperative. It looks like it's taking a lot of really beautiful hand-animated characters and giving us lots of zany world to explore and lots of crazy characters to interact with and maybe beat up and maybe steal from and then level up our characters. Looks like we're going to have quite a bit of freedom in this game. Drinkbox is a very, very clever developer. They've had a really fantastic history with Guacamelee, but other games that they've made in the past too. Always they're a small team. They're an indie team out of Toronto, but they always have great grand ambitions with the types of entertainment that they build. And they've been working on this one for a very long time. I remember talking about this early in 2020, or at least 2021. So, this one has been in the pipeline for a long time, and I'm looking forward to checking this out. And the greatest thing is that, everybody's going to be able to just download this thing if they're a Game Pass subscriber, which is pretty damn cool. And this one comes out next week. They have this crazy moment in here. Let's see if I can find it here, where they just sort of stop everything, and then they have this horse romance for a little bit. I think it's right up in here. Where is it? Yeah, it's in here. There it is. It just gets weird. Now this is a horse. That's the sense of humor that they have at Drinkbox. They put a horse love scene in the middle of their game trailer. I like that very much. So that one comes out on January 18th. So look for that one. And Ubisoft today just let me know that the long anticipated, I think it's been rumored that this was coming, but the Ezio collection is making its way to the Nintendo Switch. These are actual Nintendo Switch visuals, which it looks pretty good. Now, clearly this is an older franchise. It was on Xbox 360 hardware, so the Switch can handily accomplish these visuals, but it's a return to the classic tried and true Assassin's Creed gameplay. We got too much of it, but there's no disputing that these games were seminal. particularly Assassin's Creed 2. But there's a lot of adventure and lots of cool action to get into with Ezio, who arguably is the best character from the whole Assassin's Creed universe. It's pretty cool that you'll be able to take this game, or these games, and go, portable with these massive adventures. It's crazy. But of course, these are games that many of us have played, many of us have replayed, and we've talked about them with, great reverence for a long time. So, I don't know if this is for everybody out there, but certainly for those that are enjoying Assassin's Creed, maybe have missed out a few things, are huge Switch players, or have never played the Ezio saga. This is really cool. And this one comes out on February 17th. I'll definitely get a code for this, so I will stream some and talk about it on the channel, of course, for you guys as well. And then there was one other game that has actually already been out on Steam. I think it was released last year, but it's coming to the Nintendo Switch very soon. It's called The Company Man, and this one looks really clever. It had a great trailer. I'd never heard of this game before, but basically you're trying to break from the, this office environment, and you're trying to deal, I guess, with the wage slave mentality, and so you're using keyboards and all kinds of office supplies to beat up on bosses and to navigate the levels. It looks a little bit like Super Meat Boy in some ways, but there's some cool, actual bosses, which is pretty funny. I just like the whole conceit here that you're an office worker with getting, badges and access to different floors of this giant corporation. It looks funny, but I took out all the music in here, but a big part of the reason why this is so charming is the music is really, really effective. It's not the same visual aesthetic or quality, but it reminded me a little bit of Cuphead, it in terms of its charm and in terms of its easy to kind of understand idea and its theme. The Company Man is coming up soon for the Nintendo Switch. I suspect it will be available for every platform. I've started to kind of, stop talking about these games as exclusive to machines, because especially if they're third-party titles, because they seem to come out on every system. It might take a year, it might take a couple of months or whatever, but it really is, it does feel like these things migrate all over the place. So it's, unless they're exclusive, even Sony is publishing on the PC at this point, so it's becoming increasingly harder to say this is an exclusive somewhere. It just feels like these things are moving all over the place, but it is coming to the Switch very soon. One final thing that I want to talk to you guys about is a company called Far From Home, which is based in Poland. They released a trailer today. This is made up of a bunch of vets that worked on at Techland and presumably worked at CD Projekt Red, but they've formed a new studio. Their first game is called Forever Skies, and they've released a first kind of teaser glimpse at this title. Apparently, it's going to be coming out this year. I don't think it's a VR game, but it may be. It's first person. And we don't really get a real sense of what the gameplay is. We get a sense of this devastated city, and that, it's incredibly dystopian, and you're alone, and so you've got to survive, and you've got these cool gadgets, this cool technology where you can kind of, bring things back to life as you need to. You see this giant ship in the trailer, and you make your way over there, and eventually you go inside of this thing, and you're flying around. And so it looks like this great blending of almost Horizon Zero Dawn, her Forbidden West kind of vibe, where you see the ruins of a civilization, and there is new technology that has been crafted out of the ruins here. Now, the thing that excites me, of course, is that Far From Home is loaded with a lot of talent and a lot of experience, and I hope that this game is super cool. The studio calls itself a AA+ studio, and with the kind of pedigree that's there, the talent that's there, I think we can expect some pretty big things from Far From Home, and hopefully Forever Skies delivers on all of that potential. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with a brand new episode for you very soon, so keep your eyes out for that. Thank you for following us on Twitch at twitch.tv/EPN. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. We'll see you soon, and until then, play forever.